full crew. Joining us now is Corey Pein. He's the host of the News from Nowhere podcast. Brilliant show. I am a Patreon of it. Check it out. He's also author of the forthcoming book, which I have pre-ordered, Live, Work, 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 Die, A Journey into the Savage Heart of Silicon Valley. Corey, how you doing?
Good. I just got my Kirkus review, which is exciting.
Sweet. What does it say?
It's not as far as I can tell, a starred review, which is a little disappointing, I'll admit.
Really? How does their system work? I don't know how it works.
I don't really know either. I just know starred is good. But it's a clear-headed reckoning with consequences of the tech industry's disruptions and the ideology that undergirds it.
That sounds very starry review to me.
Sounds good. It sounds good. I'm gratified.
Kirkus reviews always read to me almost like Amazon product descriptions, except slightly more normative.
Since they called me a clear-eyed reckoner, I'm going to refrain from commenting on what you just said.
I think that was very clear-eyed of you.
To help with connectivity.
Do you feel like, let's talk about this for a minute. Do you feel like in anticipation of your book that, I mean, not this wouldn't be because of your book per se, but your book is definitely, I mean, this book's going to have a real impact. There's no doubt. And your coverage already has. I think that there's been something of a cultural sea change in terms of how, like, Silicon Valley is a lot less valorized than the culture. And I only see that accelerating.
Well, look at what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they were doing it. Well, to be fair, I mean, they were doing it. It was a lagging. What they were doing was still a lagging indicator on finally confronting how corrosive they are.
That's true. I don't know why it takes there's this lag in the culture between like the reality and the people's perceptions catching up to the backlash cycle, but so it is. And, I hope my book's coming out at a time when people are ready to hear it. I think if it had come out a couple of years ago, or certainly in, 2014 or 15, when I started reporting it, it would have been an unwelcome view, but I'm hoping that now it will be more welcome. I don't have a tech movie to recommend. I haven't seen any good ones.
Did you didn't like, I actually did I liked the Facebook, what is it called? Social Network?
Oh, Social Network.
Yeah, I thought that was actually decent.
Actually it was pretty good. I did love the final scene of that. That was one of the more effective endings in one of those, whatever, biopic drama movies. I liked it because it was so judgmental of its subjects.
Oh, it was very judgy. What the worst tech movie was the Jobs movie with who was in it? Fassbender? No, not the one with not the goofball one, not the Ashton Kutcher one, the real one. But that was still terrible. Did you see that?
I didn't. Oh, the Steve Jobs movie?
Yeah, the Steve Jobs movie with who was the?
Why would I see that?
Because you're a tech journalist, Corey. Come on.
Oh, don't call me a tech journalist. I had to correct some editor that called me that at a party once. I was horrified. I had a illustrious career before I got on the subject of tech. Now that this book's coming out, I intend never to write about tech again.
Fair enough.
I feel like I've said everything I need to say in this book. I did like the Blade Runner reboot. I
didn't
quite
see
a bit. Blade Runner 2049. I know it was controversial for being too long. Some people said it was misogynist. I thought it was. I didn't. I could see why they said that, but I think it was actually criticism of, exaggerated depiction of the misogyny in our culture, and it was quite spooky. It was like an art movie disguised as a sci-fi blockbuster. So I really enjoyed that.
I haven't seen it.
I enjoyed that. I saw that in theaters.
Yeah,
too.
Right. You guys both like that, right?
You should see it in theaters.
Yeah.
The cinematography, to nerd out, is amazing.
Yeah. Is it still doable to see in theaters? I think it's probably already.
Probably
I saw it at a second run beer theater here in Portland, so I would imagine that you could probably see it at a place like that in New York.
No, that's good. There aren't that many places like that left here, but It's weird. I'm not usually like this, but I really did like Blade Runner so much that I kind of just had a little allergy to sort of seeing it. But
I felt that
trust
way
your
too
judgment.
because I really liked the first one. So here's my hot take on the new one: is it's really good, and then Harrison Ford shows up, and it kind of falls apart at that point.
Oh,
I think
really?
I can say that without giving a lot of spoilers. Yeah, you sort of realize in a lot of Harrison Ford's recent movie appearances how much of his whole thing was just charm.
Yeah, he's a charming guy.
Not anymore. He's a grumpy old man now. And he's not much of an actor, and he probably never was, to be brutally frank about it. But I still thought it was good. I actually thought it was in some ways better than the original Blade Runner.
Oh wow, that's a big claim. You know what I love is I love what I've learned from doing this show and doing this work in general is you never know. Like you could predict certain things, like okay, libertarians will freak out about this or whatever. But you like when we did they had the author on who critiqued how math was taught in schools and how it was used like in this sort of like anachronistic way to unnecessarily terrorize children. Yeah, I said it. I had no idea that like the math backlash in this audience was genuinely shocking. Like the fact that we did have like endless like, well, I like geometry and how dare you? So I just feel like your Harrison Ford comment might just set off like a whole tsunami of response that we could never have anticipated.
Well, I loved Indiana Jones when I was a kid. I wanted to be Indiana Jones. Like that was very common of young boys of my
I wanted
age,
to be Han Solo. I thought he was cool. I liked the way he shot those aliens at the bar with like the laser thing under the bar stool. That was more my style. I like that. And the vest.
Well,
it's a good vest.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, and I got the Shaggy Do right now, so I'm keeping that alive.
So you're not hating him that much.
So Blade Runner. I made a promise to myself that I was going to boycott all the superhero movies. But then around Christmas time, I did go see Thor Ragnarok, only because of who the director was. And I forget his name, but it was one of the guys that did Flight of the Conchords.
Oh, really?
I don't actually, and it was supposed to have a more comedic touch. And I actually didn't think that it was that great of a movie, Thor Ragnarok. I kind of wish that I hadn't broken my superhero boycott to go see it. But I would recommend that people see the director's previous movie called What We Do in the Shadows, which was a New Zealand vampire roommate comedy that came out in.
I'm listening.
I can't believe you haven't seen that already.
So.
I haven't seen a lot of movies I should see.
Wow.
What We Do in the Shadows, it is hilarious. And if, it has that awkward Kiwi humor through just beginning to end. It's much funnier than Thor Ragnarok, where that kind of thing was only allowed to peek through in a couple of moments, before the Hollywood sort of hero's journey script writing imperative took over. What We Do in the Shadows is a much more laid back, visionary, and oddball film. So.